Hi, good day. My name's James Robertson. I've been in contact with Reese for the last week or so, and I understand that you're well advanced in the selection process for a project manager. I came on board really at the last minute, saw the advert on LinkedIn just before it closed, and so I'm coming from behind. I'm also suggesting something which is not the conventional wisdom and which you may therefore find a bit strange. So I thought, with a view to uh, encouraging you to give me a face-to-face meeting, that I would just do a short recording setting out roughly what it is that I envisage from you, so you can get some sort of a feel for who I am and what I look like and sound like. So I want to introduce myself. I'm a civil engineer by training, so I understand pumps. I actually stripped down and rebuilt an Ingersoll Rand pump in my early days for a swimming pool. So I really do understand pumps at a high level, simplistic technical level. And I bring an engineering approach to ERP. I've been involved with ERP since 1987. The first system that I was involved with, we built from scratch. And I've seen what works and what doesn't work. So I've been troubleshooting failed and suboptimal ERP implementations for all that time. And I've seen what works and what doesn't. I started life doing a PhD, gathered a lot of laboratory data. The university mainframe didn't have space for the data. My dad bought me one of the first desktop PCs in the days of the Apple II, etc. I computerized his business, which was an investment consultancy, and I did so successfully that in the first year that I worked for him, he was able to double his turnover because I enabled him to do things that nobody else could do. And that was when I saw that by doing clever things with computers, you can make a huge difference. Concurrently with, and I also, by the way, learned a fair amount about economics. So I bring a combination of engineering and economics to the party. Then we had military conscription in South Africa in those days. When my dad had been a prisoner of war during the Second World War. When I was called up to go to the army, he said to me, James, if you're going to get killed on the basis of your own orders. And so I worked my way up until I became the commanding officer of an engineer regiment of over 500 men who didn't want to be there. And I did all the courses up to brigade level command and control, and have a little bit of strategic thinking in there. Concurrently with that, I left my dad's business, went into formal engineering, joined a consulting firm, and in addition to my engineering work, I managed the IT function and a project to design and build a new system, and I introduced my own spin on that very successful project. I then went out on my own because I felt I had an aptitude for computers in business. And over the years, I've developed my own methods, always coming from an engineering approach, which says engineers don't design bridges to stand up. They design bridges not to fall down. I've put in well over 1,000 hours of unremunerated research and development over the years, partly because in the early days, excuse me, I gave fixed price quotes and seriously underestimated what was needed. I've spoken at dozens of conferences and I've written numerous papers around ERP effectiveness, why ERP implementations fail, etc. And I really believe that what I bring you is a high level of thought leadership. All of this to be seen in context of the ERP failure rate. Gartner, as of yesterday, reported 55, this is a search on Google, 55 to 75% of ERP projects either fail or don't meet their intended objectives. In my opinion, it's a low estimate because I think that expectations have been dumbed down. Um, some years ago, while I was still in South Africa, there was a report in the Financial Mail that 19 out of 20 ERPs were not meeting the expectations of the CEO. And there's an interesting thing about that. I don't mean to be offensive, but a lot of people lie about the success of their ERP. It's very bad karma to say, well, you know what, we spent all this money and it's a mess. So because of the way I marketed my services, I got to hear the truth from a whole lot of CEOs. But I don't think that those same CEOs would have admitted publicly that what they got wasn't working. So I think that 75% minimum. And I can help you make sure that you're part of this proportion that succeeds, whether it's 5% or 25%. As I said a minute ago, I've undertaken numerous troubleshooting investigations. I built up a catalog of what works and what doesn't. I wrote a book, The Critical Factors for IT Investment Success, in which I analyzed the key factors giving rise to failure and the key requirements for success. And that's intellectual property that I will share with you if you appoint me on this project. So I really bring a unique engineering perspective. To overview the role that I'm proposing for you, number one, strategic project leader working closely with your CEO. And in saying that, your ERP embraces the entire business. The only person who has the helicopter view of the entire business and the authority and the oversight of the entire business is the CEO. Therefore, the only person who can be the sponsor of an ERP project is the CEO. But the problem is the CEO doesn't have the knowledge to do the job, which is where I come in. I slot in next to the CEO as a direct report. I work closely with the CEO. I advise so that the CEO can take the appropriate decisions. I operate as an agent of the CEO, so I have delegated authority so that I can facilitate the entire project. So relatively light touch engagement. If you don't have it, you're riding for a hiding. I've got years experience of doing that, going all the way back to 1987. I understand CEOs. I can speak their language. I can translate the IT language into language that they understand, and I can equip and empower them to control the project at the same level of engagement that they would with any other area of the business. Then procurement. Coming from a civil engineering background, the fundamental way of working in the construction industry is robust designs, very detailed, robust specifications, a robust tender process, and robust contracts. I bring that to your ERP project. I've worked with clients over the years. I've done numerous procurements. About 13, 14 years ago, I sat with the CIO of a big engineering company. He was also an engineer. And between us, based on his experience of their procurement, we'd crafted an RFP, which is second to none. It closes all the loopholes. It makes sure that your procurement process filters out those that are going to come in with a mindset of bid low and then use change requests to push the price up. It allows you to select the best software, the best implementer. It allows you to develop during the procurement process a constructive relationship with your implementer of choice before you sign. It allows you to have a tough contract, and it allows you to secure a fixed price, which you have a very high level of confidence in. And then finally, something that I call precision configuration, which I'm bold enough to say I'm not sure that you'll find anywhere else. This is something that I've evolved. I did biology projects at school with taxonomies there. I was involved in my career in the Army with the Army filing system, the NATO filing system. I was also involved with the logistics, the NATO warehouse structures. And when I started to get involved with business systems, I just naturally developed taxonomies. And then the first project I did where I really got it right, a year down the track, the client phoned me and said, you know, James, this is amazing. It's 6 weeks after year end. The auditors have left. Last year time they were here for 6 months. They've signed out off the balance sheet without qualifications for the first time in 15 years. We have a massive amount of management information. Profitability is up, and we did it with one less bookkeeper. I said, wow, that's amazing. I wasn't expecting that. But that's the sort of value, that's the sort of benefits that I can bring to Stuart Turner if you engage me on this project. So just a little bit of background. What is strategy? I've said several times strategy. Way back, I tried to define strategy, couldn't, search around, came across the work of Malcolm MacDonald, who says strategy is doing the right things from the customer's perspective. Tactics is doing things right. If you do the right things well, your organization will thrive, and that's where my logo comes from. I researched further. I came across Professor Michael Porter, who says that strategy is about differentiation. I came across the work of Michel Robert, who says strategy is that every organization has a single strategic driving force. I crafted that together, pulled it all together into something which I say strategy is the essence of the business and how it thrives. And I will bring that deep understanding of strategy and how to interpret strategy into practical, actionable steps to this project. If we look at the individual roles, the strategic project leader, I will work with your executive committee and the CEO to develop the strategic requirements, the no more than 7 weighted priorities of what you want from the system. I will work with you to develop the strategic critical success factors and potentially also other strategic measures, possibly a separate workshop with finance and one with operations. I don't know enough about your business. I can only speculate. I will meet regularly with the CEO and with Exco, and I will provide high-level oversight and guide the project. As I said a minute ago, it's a relatively light touch engagement, but it requires that I have an open door to the CEO and that the CEO gives enough time to provide overall guidance and trusts me to work with the rest of the team to provide the detail. The second thing, as I spoke about a minute ago, robust procurement. I've got a tough RFP that protects the client and eliminates those who thrive on change requests. It's a stepwise, rigorous tender process, which ensures that the most suitable software and implementer are selected and ensures a good relationship. And it gives you a solid fixed price and a tough but fair contract with realistic timelines. It sets the foundation for a successful project. And one of the things that I enforce is that I say, don't introduce people to the tender process who will not be involved throughout. I've recently done one of these processes for a company name of Manning Impex in Camberley, and an interesting experience. They had, when they presented their software, they had one of their senior consultants presented. And I was scratching my head a bit because the guy was obviously not a salesman. And then I realized that they were complying with our requirement not to put somebody in front of us who would not be involved in the running of the project. And that's powerful because you get to assess people right up front. You know who you're dealing with. You've got a relationship. So often they roll out the A team in order to get the job and they give you the C team. And then this thing that I call precision configuration that I spoke about a moment ago. It's highly innovative. It's based on over 1,000 hours of unremunerated R&D, biology, NATO filing system, library cataloging, all things that I have experience of, and highly structured taxonomies. I've got a fairly detailed presentation that I gave to Reese yesterday, which he can, I hope, has in fact shared with you. And I've got a very detailed presentation which actually shows my secret sauce. And if we get to meet face to face and you're interested, we can go into that. But that's a fairly long presentation. It's a complex subject. It raises the standard of your ERP by at least an order of magnitude. High strategic value. The example that I mentioned earlier. Audit down from 6 months to 6 weeks. Masses of management information done with less staff. And it lays the foundation for an exceptional business outcome. Then you might say to me, but we advertised for a project manager. Why are you not applying for the project manager role? Well, the answer is simple. I've had some bad experiences trying to do the three things that I've just talked about and do the project management. Because what I find is that management of the business cannot handle the duality of me operating at the strategic level and operating at the operational level. So because so much of what has to be done is done at the operational level, working with mid-level staff, in management's heads, I become an operator at that level, and then I try and operate strategically and manage and say, well, what are you doing here? Why are you doing this? So I've decided I won't do that anymore. Contextualizing that, the strategic project leader is focused on the strategic 20% that will deliver 80% of the value outcome. The project manager is focused on the 80% of the project that will deliver the operational outcome. There's a dissonance, there's a disconnect. I've done both, but my happy place is at the strategic level because that's where I can add the most value. I get my kick out of the sort of quote that I shared with you. Another quote, Robert Prebatch, African Sales Company. James, you've created a strategic weapon. They were able to secure the Dior account, very prestigious, with a 12% revenue uplift almost overnight because I had enabled them to do things that nobody else could do. And that's kind of my theme. Enable you to do something that your competitors can't do. Enable you to differentiate your business and succeed and prosper and grow. And then doing the precision configuration takes quite a bit of time. Trying to do project management with that is a conflict of time requirements. So I end up working 14-hour days, which is not good because then I get too expensive and balls get dropped and. There's a completely different focus between strategic project leader and precision configuration and day-to-day project management. So I'm afraid I'm not available to help you as a project manager. I would love to help you with the other three roles. In conclusion, I'm confident that I can assist Stuart Turner to achieve an outstanding project outcome that facilitates increased efficiencies, high quality strategic and operational management information, and increased profitability. I'd welcome the opportunity to meet with you face to face at your earliest convenience. Please liaise with Reese. I look forward to meeting you. Thanks so much. Bye.